everybody. We predicted it. Did you and I, all of us, did we not? We predicted like modern day secular prophets. We predicted everything that's happening. Political turmoil, risk to terrorism, potential false flags, absolute political turmoil, and then international or geopolitical strife everywhere. So let's dig in and realize, understand, and stay focused on the reasons we are prepared with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Very important. Go to thepreparedmind.club. If you think that you need help with anything, we've got a lot of suggestions there, what to get. And I want to thank everyone who's gone there and are subscribed to the preparedmind.club at our premium service. It keeps the lights on, keeps the studio going, keeps me from only having to have 2 jobs. Woo! Okay, so where do we start? Well, I'm going to start by saying get your questions down below into Uman. Today is Thursday, January 30th. 10 days into the Trump presidency, and heads are rolling, heads are exploding, liberal tears are flowing, and we are fighting to get our country back. Tomorrow, by the way, is going to be the Free for All Friday, right here on the Prepared Mind daytime broadcast, and it'll be a Sunday night live at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. So let's start off with what has Trump been up to today? Well, this has been a big problem for us, you, me, parents, grandparents, for years now. But the Department of Education under Trump is saying no more to the LGBTQ pornography in our grade schools and primary schools. Talk about just sick, disgusting people. And get, they tried saying no more. No more of this perverted nonsense. No more, I have 2 daddies and a baby came out of daddy's belly. No more how to give BJs to older men if you're a little boy. No more of any of this shit. Now, you know what the defense has been by Democrats, leftists, communists, anti-Americans? You know what their claim has been? Their legal fight is that banning gay and trans pornography is a violation of somebody's civil rights. Somehow, though, it's not considered lewd or obnoxious or sexual exploitation of children and the minds of children and corrupting children. Well, Trump's Department of Education said no more. Your claims are invalid, fruitcakes and Democrats. And rightly so. Reason, logic, common sense. How hard is this to figure out? It's if you look back at it, it's disgusting. The same way you look back at the communists in Soviet Russia who killed 40 to 60 million. They killed so many people, they don't even know how many they killed. And it's more than just Russia. 40 to 60 million. It's all of Eastern Europe, Mongolia. Unbelievable. And they're fine with it. They love communism. I mean, China killed 40 million of their own people, at least. Anyways, Trump is now going after, well, Canada and Mexico. And China also. You bet, folks. Here's the quote. We'll be announcing the tariffs, end quote. That is going to be huge, folks. Now, Trump's first presidency, he played a lot of rough games. He played hardball with China. He battled them. He worked them. He punished them. He cooperated with them. But now he's also going after Canada and Mexico. I do know that Trump wants manufacturing, mining, right, energy production to happen in the United States of America. And I'm certain that has a lot to do with why he is going to put tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You want to sell your cheap oil in America, Canada? Well, we're going to have to put a tariff on that. So American oil is more competitive in markets. That creates American jobs, American prosperity, and American energy security. With respect to Mexico, Mexico has drugs, drug cartels, human trafficking, child sex trafficking, murder for hire, as well as the other Central and South American countries, folks. But Trump is going to hit Mexico with some tariffs as well. The reason, in my opinion, is because there's a lot of American manufacturing that went south of the border so that American corporations make more money off of you and me, and they pay less money to the government in taxes. So Trump wants a weaker dollar. He wants lower interest rates. Weaker dollar makes the American trade more competitive around the world. Tariffing other countries makes American business more competitive inside our country. The markets are going to digest all the potentialities of this, folks. But trust me, we're going to get inflation because it's already here. Every single Democrat, every single newspaper, every single television studio, satellite, social media company, every single big tech firm is going to blame everything that's wrong on Trump because he's now the president. Now, hey, you're the president. You get all the credit and all the blame. I think Trump has big boy pants and he'll be able to explain himself, accept responsibility, but he's also going to take all kinds of credit when anything goes right. Now, that said, I'm for what Trump is doing with respect to encouraging American energy, mining, agriculture, production, refining, everything. Because the whole world is not a happy place, folks. It's not a happy place. And the Federal Reserve does not want lower interest rates. They don't. The country actually, in my opinion, guess what? We need 8% interest. I need, if I'm going to put money, if I'm a saver, saving wealth, I should be making 8% interest annual. And the rate of inflation should be 0. There should be a reward for saving wealth that can turn around and be used for what? Investments, for cash expenditures, for emergencies, for retirement. We used to use a savings account for retirement. You would have, this is a long time ago, folks, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 in cash. That was safe. I know that sounds completely foreign these days. Oh, you're supposed to have a 401k for that, John. Yeah, look how that's turning out. We're in the everything bubble, and it is starting to pop. That's why central banks around the world and bullion banks are gobbling up the gold. They're demanding physical delivery. They're not just trading, right, on the gold futures and the silver futures. They're now buying the stock and then demanding physical delivery to hold because currencies are taking a shit. Folks, SHTF. It is coming. They're going to blame Trump for everything they can. I've been saying, and we've all been watching, this system slowly coming down for a nice crash landing. Anyways, Trump says, quote, we'll be announcing the tariffs. It's going to happen. Now, with respect to precious metals, if Trump puts tariffs on gold and silver, look out. They have already drained the LBMA, which is the London Bullion Market. And look out, folks. They're trying to get the gold and silver over here and out of London before all of their naked short investments on Wall Street are due. And then they have to pay out the pocket. It's crazy business. So London's getting drained. They went from, hey, it'll take 2 or 3 days to get you your gold to, it's going to take 4 to 8 weeks to get you your gold. In other words, they don't have the gold. They're having to go out and look for it and buy it and then get it flown into the U.S. There is going to be a squeeze in many areas of the economy. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch. Now, speaking of sitting back and watching, have every one of you seen, watched, and heard the news regarding the military Black Hawk helicopter that flew straight into an American Airlines civilian passenger jet? Everyone's dead. It's a horrible tragedy. And this is, folks, this is not Trump's fault, even though Democrats literally are trying to say this is Trump's fault. I don't think we're going to get a straight answer on this, folks. I have a funny feeling the pilot was making a political statement. I think that this entire tragedy is a diversity, equity, and inclusion failure. Pete Buttigieg, transportation secretary under the Biden administration, cared more about looking cool and being woke than about safety and protecting lives. On top of the question to the shall we say, the pilots, all of their mental conditions, we also have an initial Federal Aviation Administration report that says the air traffic control tower was, quote, not normal at the time the Black Hawk smashed into the passenger plane. It's a jet. It's a fucking jet. I don't know. In any event, folks, they're not paying attention. They're not doing their job. Things weren't normal. It's Trump's fault. There is, however, a new transportation secretary in place. And like everyone else within the Trump administration, they're cleaning out the woke, the critical race theory, the diversity, equity, inclusion, the environmental social governance crap. It's time to clean house. Playtime is over. Look at what these people have cost us, are costing us, and will cost us in the future. This is like going to a big, drunken smorgasbord and then being told, well, when it's all over, you're going to have to pay for it. Well, I don't know if the party's over for Democrats, communists, and the LGBT queer crowds, but we're all paying now. We're all paying for it now. What do you want to talk about, folks? Down below. Down below, it is your turn, your chance here in just a few more minutes. So get your questions in to Mr. Uman. And this quote came up. I caught it today. A former president of Kenya. That's right. Former Kenyan president was speaking to African leaders because they're all pissed off over Trump's executive order to freeze foreign aid. Well, was the Kenyan president being a bitch? Was he pissed at Trump? Or did he put the African leaders in their places? Well, it would be the latter. Here's the quote. Stop crying. Trump doesn't owe you anything. It's not your country. He has no reason to give you anything. Couldn't have been spoken better. I'd rather have had that Kenyan president than the loser Obama, who was the loser Kenyan president fraud that was sent to America by communists and globalists. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Let's see, you're in charge of yourselves. These African nations and other nations in Europe, folks, act like a bunch of petulant, spoiled children demanding our money. And once they don't get it, they start talking trash. This is a smart man, an intelligent man, and a respectable man, this Kenyan president. Good deal and good riddance to everyone who have been freeloading off of all of us. You see, it's not the United States government. It wasn't Biden. It wasn't Trump. It was you and I who paid for all this money going overseas. going to other countries. Our wealth, my son's wealth, my grandson's future being given away by fucking Biden and Obama and the Democrat Congress and the rhinos in Congress. No more. No more. We can cut $3 trillion out of the budget by stop giving our money away. That's a big chunk of fucking change there, isn't it? 10 trillion a year, and 3 trillion is giving our money away. All right, folks, speaking of people from other countries that don't like us, I suspect terrorism. Folks, it's winter. That's right. It's January 30th. Winter starts on December 21st. It ends on March 21st. We're in the dead heat smack middle of winter. And guess what we have in North Carolina? Wildfires. I thought we got torrential rains. We just went through a fucking snowstorm that was so cold in the South, it brought snow to northern Florida. Yet now we have fires in North Carolina, wildfires. Are you prepared, folks? All right, there's no coincidences. Wildfires broke out in towns that were near the Hurricane Helene destruction zones, which were flooded. Once again, lots of water, lots of cold, lots of snow. How did a wildfire start? Do the math, folks. Terrorism. Anywhere, anything can be lit on fire. These people are very willing to do it to us. And I'm not real happy with it. I don't think you would be either. I'm going to go international with you folks. We are in a serious predicament. Trump appears to be in charge with everything. President Trump is trying to stop the wasteful spending. He's time to fight for our rights. He wants to do good things for America. He wants our allies to be strong and smart, right? All of these things. And that's not good for the globalists, the international bankers. This isn't good for those who want America destroyed. Over in Russia, folks, the head of the Duma says, and spoke publicly, accused President Biden and his administration of attempting to assassinate President Trump, attempting to assassinate President Putin of Russia, and other world leaders like the Prime Minister of Slovakia, Mr. Fico, who was shot in the chest several times and lived. Do you doubt this? I don't. We know Trump was publicly shot through the ear, almost a headshot through the fucking ear. Does he have a right to be pissed off and want to fix it? You bet he does. Does Melania have a right to look pissed off? You bet she does. Does Barron Trump have justification for being pissed off? Yeah. And Trump Jr. and Ivanka and Eric and the whole Trump bunch, they all have very good right and justification for being pissed because their dad, right, father, husband, Donald J. Trump was shot through the fucking ear. And if he hadn't turned his head so that bullet would whiz by, it had gone right through the side of his head. Right through the side of his head. And his head would have exploded. He would have dropped like a ton of bricks. And the world would have no doubt that evil was in charge. Whether you believe in miracles or not, doesn't matter. Whether you believe in coincidence or not, doesn't matter. I don't doubt that these people want to kill their political enemies. Well, why hasn't anyone shot Voldemort Zelensky? Because he's a useful tool. to Davos, the World Economic Forum, the International Banking Cartel. Yeah, I implicate them all. I implicate them. Banks are not here to help us, folks. Yeah, the Federal Reserve's charged with making sure our economy and inflation and unemployment are managed. That's not what they do, though. They make sure they're taken care of. They privatize their own profits to put into their own pockets. But when they suffer losses, they socialize it and make sure we all pay for it. Wow, folks. Just wow. But I'm now going to delve into this. Some of the biggest news of the day, probably the biggest news of the day. Kash Patel, FBI director nominee for President Trump. A man who has brown skin, dark hair, brown eyes, and a very sharp wit and mind. Kash Patel faced the United States Democrat Senate today, who did nothing but throw shit and stupidity at the man. And like Pam Bondi, like Pete Hegseth, like RFK Jr., he outwitted these dimwits, these dipshits, these Democrat senators. Kash Patel took on Dirty Dick Durbin, the Democrat senator, took him on and outwitted him. Well, Senator Dick Durbin, Dirty Dick, brought up the January 6 pardons. And then he implied somehow that Patel is a racist. Just fucking outrageous. I mean, we know Dick Durbin is not going to vote yes for Kash Patel, even though Dick Durbin, as a white old man, ought to be called a racist for not voting for a brown man who is eminently qualified to be the director of the FBI. But this is the exchange. You see, Dirty Dick tried being a smartass, and he asked Patel, quote, "Do you think America is safer because 1,600 people have been given the opportunity to come out of prison and live in our communities again?" Basically, Dirty Dick was talking about the January 6 prisoners that Trump pardoned. Right? These protesters were not starting fires and burning down cities. These protesters were not turning over police cars, burning police stations, setting fire to courthouses. These 1,600 J6 protesters were not assaulting little men, little old women, children, moms, dads, chasing people with skateboards and beating them to death, raping people, looting stores, breaking windows. Nope. They were there to protest a fraudulent election, right? But Dirty Dick wanted to say, should these people have been allowed to come out of prison and live in our communities again? So Patel, first off, he said, look, I haven't reviewed every January 6 case that was pardoned, but he ended with this. I believe that America is not safer because of Biden's commutation of a man who murdered 2 FBI agents. The man that point blank fired a shotgun into their heads and murdered them was released from prison. In other words, Biden let a murderer who killed FBI law enforcement, and that's what Kash Patel is going to be the charge of, the FBI. I guess we all have to realize that a peaceful protester who gets arrested and locked up for 4 fucking years, that kind of person is not the same as a cold-blooded, murderous killer. Right, Dirty Dick? Oh, but Dick Durbin was not the only one who tried taking a crack at Kash Patel. And he's going to make it through, folks. He's just got to put up with these stupid, insulting morons. And he had to bitch smack the idiot, former Democrat presidential candidate, socialist moron, Senator Amy Klobuchar. And he smacked her with a superb response because she tried some gotcha questions, some sneaky little tricks. Let me tell you what had, right? Folks, Kash Patel had enough of Klobuchar, her stupid gotcha questions, her stupid nonsense. So he dropped a truth bomb on her head. This is what Kash Patel said. Much like Pam Bondi, who put these morons in their place, basically with insults, because that's what they deserve. But that's all they did was insult people. So Kash Patel says, if the best attacks on me are going to be false accusations and grotesque mischaracterizations, the only thing this body, meaning the Democrats in the Senate, the only thing this body is doing is defeating the credibility of the men and women at the FBI. He kept on. He says, I stood with them here in this country in every theater of war we have. I was on the ground in service. And any accusations that I would put political bias on, because she insinuated, along as with other Democrats, that he was going to use his power as director of the FBI to go after political enemies. He said, and any accusations that I would put political bias before the Constitution are grotesquely unfair. And I will have you, Democrats in the Senate, reminded I have been endorsed by over 300,000, not 300, not 3,000, 300,000 law enforcement officers to become the next director of the FBI. Let's ask them. Meaning, let's ask them if he's going to be politically biased. The Democrats, folks, don't have anything else. The most they have is stupid, sophomoric, low IQ, lowbrow insults. And to top off the day, I gave this a big bam because Kash Patel fired a warning shot across 90-proof Nancy's bow during the confirmation hearings today. That's right. That's right. Former Speaker of the House, Nancy 90-proof Pelosi, who was responsible for security on January 6th in 2021, who had the National Guard stand down, the police stand down, everyone stand down, so they could orchestrate, in my opinion, and it seems to also be the opinion of her own daughter, orchestrate a false insurrection so they could smear Trump. These fucking people. So Kash Patel was talking directly at her, and the January 6th rioting that was a result of 90-proof Nancy's actions. Placed the blame right at her feet. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was perfect. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of incredible fuckery in the Senate. They've done nothing but make asinine fools of themselves. Can you imagine? These are supposed to be the pinnacle of brilliance in the Democrat Party. And no matter what bullshit they dished out, it got thrown right in their faces. They deserved it. They earned every single cow pie up their nose. And I think all of them, folks. Oh, Adam Schiff tried some shit too. He's such a fucking moron. He's such a bug-eyed fucking salami smoker. The guy's a freak. He's also, I think, susceptible to prosecution. He needs to be expelled for lying to the American people, lying to Congress, lying about the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He is completely discredited as a politician, yet he's going to sit as a senator for the state of California because California. Just wow. All right. We're going to do it, folks. We're going to flip it over to you. It is now your show. Here we are. It's Thursday, folks. It's Friday Eve. What's on your mind? Mr. Uman, I know, has gathered up some questions from emails, the comment section, from the dark recesses of his own mind. And he says, we're going to start with Mr. Diving Frog. He says, John, I see we have choppers flying into planes now. Don't the military choppers have radar? So what's happening next month? Well, number one, we have military helicopters flying into civilian airspace, an international airport. It flew apparently directly into the plane. I mean, not only are they supposed to have radar, they've got air traffic control. You're also supposed to have visual spotters on the helicopter. I don't know how many people they had, whether they had the doors open and people sitting in the doors. They're supposed to be looking around. They had full lights on everything. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. You know, you're asking if they have radar. I'm sure they do. These are Apache. I'm sorry, not an Apache, a Black Hawk. Very, very technical helicopter. People are saying this just doesn't smell right. To me, it doesn't. So you ask, what is happening next month? Next month, a helicopter is going to slam into a domestic drone that's here for research and other various purposes. And when they go to the crash site for the drone, there's going to be little green men that come out and claim to be natural-born citizens of America. I don't know what's going to happen next, folks. All I know is you need to be prepared with everything you've got, because we could end up with more fires in California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming. I forget anyone? All the others, the Appalachian states from top to bottom, you know, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, all the way up through Vermont and New Hampshire. What's happening? We got fires. How about banking collapse? There is so much going on right now. They're talking about the potential, and I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen, but bond default. U.S. bonds, right? Bonds are purchased, and that's what funds the government. Your taxes are taken from you at gunpoint to pay back those bonds. Well, no one wants to buy the bonds anymore because the U.S. government, if it gets pissed off at you, is going to punish you for it. Other countries, folks, they've got no great investments, so they buy U.S. savings bonds or U.S. Treasury bonds or T-bills or whatever you want to call them. They buy paper from the U.S. government to fund the government, right? It's like the United States note, the dollar, is the most worthless piece of shit money on the planet. Did you know that? With the exception of all the other dollars and coins and paper on the planet, right? It's the prettiest pig in the pen. So everyone wants it because the people in their own country are like, we don't even want our own fucking money, but the U.S. money's not so good anymore, and it can't be trusted. That's what I speak of when I say we could have a monetary crisis. So yes, have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense for all the crazy shit that can go wrong in our lives, in our world. But you need to worry and be concerned and have a plan to protect your own wealth. All right, great topics indeed. Get your questions down below because Uman will bring them up onto the screen and we'll have more questions right here, which come from you guys. I want to thank you for making the show what it is, right? Cafefe.com, such good coffee. Hey, Village Idiot has checked in. He says, I'll start a conspiracy now with this. Was that a U.S. Army hacked hawk that hit the American Airlines plane? He's insinuating, he's implying, he's postulating, he's hypothesizing, the Village Idiot is, that the Black Hawk was hacked, that it was being remote controlled, piloted. by someone else because it flew directly into the flight path of a civilian aircraft. That's a great conspiracy theory. You know, one of the things I like to ask, though, Village Idiot, is follow the money. Who benefits? Key bono, right? Key bono. Who benefits? Who? Well, the Biden administration is gone. We're suffering in the aftermath of it. So anything that happens, right, we need to understand and look and really try and find out who's responsible. Why did this happen? If you want to make someone look bad, the mainstream media is not going to make Pete Buttigieg into the bad guy, even though he is a man who thinks he should chest feed infants. And he's a man. He doesn't have mammary glands. He doesn't have boobs. He doesn't lactate. He's a man. What a sick fucking pig. Pete Buttigieg. What a fucking sick pig. Anyways, who are they trying to make look bad? Trump? I think we need to find out who the pilot was, what his political position was. But yeah, if you want to make the military look bad, perhaps to make Pete Hegseth look bad, can the Black Hawk be hacked, controlled, or was this a DEI pilot committing suicide? Because, you know, they were being genocided because they're not having their alternative genders and identities acknowledged. Crazy business. Crazy business indeed. Or, right, or what? Was it the airlines in the tower? Right? Air traffic control, not giving any guidance to anyone. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Sorry. Ooman says, possible the pilot was upset about certain folks getting relieved from duty. Well, that's Ooman's opinion, or his thought, rather. Again, we share opinions and ideas here. We're not pronouncing truth. We're saying, go ahead and think about it. You're allowed to fucking think about it. You're allowed to talk about it. Right? Free speech. You don't have a right to not be offended. Right? Here we are, folks. There's a lot of offensive stuff going on. Yeah, I have a funny feeling that the pilot had an axe to grind. Whatever that axe was. And that's what this was about. I guess we're going to have to wait. So much stuff we're waiting on, folks. Okay, Trump, how hard is it to look at someone in the room and go, where's the JFK files? Get them out there. Hey, who's got the Epstein files? Get them out in the public now. Just like that. Done. Why isn't it being done? It needs to be done. It needs to be done. Okay, Mr. Ooman, I'm having a good old time with this. Friday Eve, folks. Friday Eve. Woohoo! We're going to have a gnarly weekend this weekend. I have a funny feeling there's going to be some nasty shit. Okist checks in, and I don't know this name, so welcome to the show. Got a lot of new people on X, Twitter. We also have our other flagship broadcast, the preparedmind.club, which is also a prepper superstore. Okist says, seems like the ATC person didn't cause the accident, but missed the opportunity to avert it. I need to know why training missions are allowed in a busy area, let alone at night. Bad idea. Very bad idea. They can set up obstacles. They can give flight directions to a helicopter or a plane for that matter, or a jet, and say, fly this way, turn, to the right, turn to the left, go down, go up, and make sure someone can fly within, right, the parameters designed to test their ability to navigate. You don't need to have them flying around over a heavily populated metropolis near an international airport on the East Coast that takes traffic from around the world to the most busy political capital on the planet. I agree 100%. All bad ideas, all stupid. Now, once a pilot has experience flying, say, I don't know, over an Army base, an air base, an air station, Marine Corps air station, fine. But good golly, the bad decisions, they just aren't going to stop coming when they come from the left. Thank you, Okist, very, very much. And we've got more. Yes, we do. We've got more. And there's more stories that are breaking right now. In fact, there's one I want to share with you right now. Hang tight. I want to make sure it is right where I left it. Oh, indeed it is, folks. Indeed it is. Nope, that wasn't the one I was thinking of. You're going to have to forgive me. This is not a sexist comment. Co-pilot of Black Hawk helicopter was a woman. Am I going to make bad driving jokes here? Nope. But what I do know is that people who are unqualified or underqualified in the military are being pushed up faster than they should have been because they want it to look good. They want a bunch of gay people. They want a bunch of persons of color, and they want a bunch of women to be in positions that typically and in the past they wouldn't be in. And so what's one of the worst things you can do? One of the worst things you can do in any situation, but especially one where other lives are in danger, is push someone into a position that they're not prepared to handle, that they're underqualified for, therefore unqualified. Could this be part of it? That this helicopter pilot was unqualified, underqualified, inexperienced, and was put in the seat because it looked good politically. You see, that's what diversity, equity, and inclusion about, is looking a certain way instead of ensuring a certain outcome. You don't put women in Army and Marine Corps combat units. You don't put them in there because it looks good for recruiting, or it looks good to people with no self-esteem, right? And they love this diversity shit. You put people in those positions to win the fucking war, to win the battle, to win the moment. That's why you put hardcore, nasty men with big bulging muscles and grit, and you put them out there to kill people. And you only put people in jets and helicopters who are eminently qualified to do it. And if you want to bring other people up and they get an opportunity, and trust me, folks, they all get an opportunity, but it's called merit. If you don't merit, you don't earn your way, you shouldn't be there. It just makes me wonder. Was she the one in charge, or was she just the co-pilot? Was the helicopter remote controlled, hacked? Because it flew straight into the American Airlines. Just crazy. Okay. Mr. Uman, who is next? We've got the Charlanator. If we stop handing out free money and housing to illegals, what are the chances of increased crime until they are deported? Oh, it goes up, Charlanator. Great comment. That's right. We keep giving them free credit cards, free phones, free clothing, free food, free housing. If you cut that off, Charlene, you are absolutely correct. They could start committing crimes, or they can turn themselves in. And I think a lot of that is going on. We heard about self-deporting. People just saying, you know what, I'm out, and they just walk right back across the border. But what about those that are way up north? Right up in Chicago, up in Detroit, up in Minneapolis, up in New York, Buffalo, Cleveland, right? They may end up turning more to crime. But I think those that are engaged in crime, right, the criminal, illegal immigrants, they're the ones who are really going to turn to crime. They may be more brazen about it. Good. They will get caught all the quicker. If they are already hardened criminals, they're not going to turn themselves in. They're not going to quit being criminals. They're not going to get a fake ID, go get a job, start paying taxes, and learn to speak English. But you are correct. Yeah, the chances of increased crime do go up. It is a shall we say, a consequence of nature. But if we keep giving the hardcore criminals that we're discussing here, if you keep giving them money, they're still going to commit those crimes. They're just going to have a very comfortable lifestyle from which to do it, because that's what they practice. Criminal behavior, prostitution, kidnapping, drugs, murder, gang activity. They're going to still do it. They're just going to look nicer and smell cleaner if they've got a house, clothes, and food. Anyways, great comment. Yeah, in other words, we're going to have to pay, Charlanator. You are absolutely right. I think in a lot of ways, crime is going to go up as we get rid of the problem. Right? When people are getting cancer cured or treated, rather, oftentimes they're in a lot more pain than if they just pretended there was no cancer. And it ends up killing them anyways. Great thought. Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? And Joe Federico checks in. Another new name up here on the Prepared Mind board. We are growing like mad, like weeds on X, folks. It's terrific. It is a network we're building, a network of patriots, freedom-minded people, thinkers, intelligent thinkers, and we need to reach out and help others find patriot networks. Right? We need to make America great again, right? That's what the flag's all about there. We need to make America great again. We're not going to do it by ignoring the problems. So Joe says, if DEI comes back, I want to be the third string quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. I want to be included. I would also like to be the lead singer for Rush. Geddy Lee needs to spread that equity out. I love Rush. What a great band. Saw them twice. Well, since there's still Geddy Lee there, maybe you can take Neil Peart's job. And just they'll give you some pixie sticks to beat on the drums with and just do the Milli Vanilli thing there and lip sync and drum sync. In any event, yeah, I don't think DEI is going to make a comeback. The world knew it was bullshit from the beginning. We had to tolerate it because it was Democrat policy, corporate policy, investment banker policy. Remember BlackRock and Vanguard, but especially BlackRock. I would not invest my money through BlackRock just because principles. I have principles. But they pushed it. BlackRock and Vanguard and other companies, large investment corporations, were telling little companies, you will do this. You'll bring these fruitcakes, these blue, pink, purple, green-haired freaks, these tattooed up morons, these imbecilic wannabe graduates from college. And you're going to put them on your boards of directors. You're going to give them executive positions, and everything they touch turned to shit. The lesson has been learned. I don't think it's coming back, Joe, but I'll tell you what. If DEI makes a comeback, I will vote for you not only to be the third string quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, I'll vote for you to be inducted into the Hall of Fame after your first season. All I need to do is have a seat on the voting board there. Anyways, thank you, Joe. Mr. Uman, I've got to bring this one up. I got to do it. A senior advisor, a senior aide to President Obama, and of course also Hillary Clinton. Did you know that this freak, that's right, another freak, flew all the way over to jolly old England to meet a 9-year-old child to have sex? That's right. An aide to Obama, an aide to Clinton, has been sentenced to 11 years for attempted child rape. 11 years. Now, what I want to know is why in England they actually have rape gangs and they won't put them in jail for a single fucking year. First off, this guy, and should I say his name? I don't even want to say his fucking name. He should go to prison for the rest of his life. And I think all of the scumbags over there in England, they ought to get the same thing. You got two choices. You got life in prison or chemical and physical castration, both of them. Right? Chemically castrated to take any desire away from you to ever want to be near another living being sexually. Maybe a lobotomy as well. These fucking people are sick, folks, and they're not going to get better. The enemy can only be defeated. They cannot be re-educated. It's just not a possibility. In any event, let's do this. Mr. Uman, we've got just a few minutes left. I'm running out of gas on Friday Eve. It has been one heck of a news day, one heck of a work day. America, we've got our work cut out for us. Uman, where shall we roll? What do we want to talk about? What is up next? In fact, let's do this. Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum. She sounds like a Mexican, doesn't she? Claudia Sheinbaum. That is very Mexican. There's a lot of Latina name in that. Claudia. No. Anyways, Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, is pissed off that Google has agreed to change the name on the maps from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Look, the president, every Mexican on the planet, even the ones up here in America, if they want to call it the Gulf of Mexico, call it whatever you fucking want. Call it the Gulf of Venus, the Gulf of Mars, the Gulf of Betelgeuse. I don't give a shit. But if the United States government wants to designate the body of water the Gulf of America for the purposes of American maps, so be it. It's not like the rest of the world has to accept it, right? Like Mexico, if it wants to change the name of Mexico to pick one, New Indiana, go ahead and call yourself New Indiana. Why should we give a shit? What an insane world, folks. It's just insane. It's just insane. So I guess I'll ask the question. You know, what is going to happen in the U.S. Senate because of all the stupidity there? A lot of Democrats, not all of them, not a majority, but just a lot of vocal Democrats are so disgusted with their own party and the way they're treating RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. So disgusted with the way they're treating them that they're like, I'm not voting for this trash anymore. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard is a Democrat. RFK Jr. is a Democrat. Elon Musk was a Democrat. The Democrat Party has run so far into fascist communist territory that they can't be distinguished from communists and fascists. Do you think RFK Jr. should be nominated right now and passed? I do. I think so. Same with Kash Patel. And Tulsi Gabbard, folks, basically let the Senate and the deep state have it in her opening statement. Basically, she exposed the 51 intelligence officials or officers, advisors, the ones that lied about President Trump in order to smear him and try and destroy and affect our elections. Also, by the way, remember, he removed their security clearance and he removed any protections they had. Tulsi Gabbard also went after Hillary Clinton and the Democrat Party. Now, again, I don't like Tulsi Gabbard's politics. I don't want her determining fiscal policy and social commentary. I don't want her anywhere near that. If she can handle the Director of National Intelligence position as a nonpartisan national intelligence job, good. Right. But she is a combat veteran. And she's a pretty smart person. I just don't understand. Well, I should understand. I just don't like a lot of her decisions when it comes to fiscal spending. But that's why she just got her ass kicked in the presidential run-up. This is what she had to say. For too long, faulty, inadequate, or weaponized intelligence has led to costly failures and the undermining of our national security and God-given freedoms enshrined in the Constitution. The most obvious example of one of these failures is our invasion of Iraq based on a total fabrication or a complete failure of intelligence. The invasion of Iraq, that was under President Bush. You bet there was a lot of lies there. Colin Powell told lies. They all told lies. She continued, this disastrous decision led to the deaths of tens of thousands of American soldiers, millions of people in the Middle East, mass migration, destabilization, and the undermining of the security and stability of our European allies. It's contributed to the rise of ISIS, the strengthening of Al-Qaeda and other Islamist jihadist groups, and the empowerment of Iran. Hard to argue with that. The American people elected Donald Trump as their president, not once but twice. Yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. That's right. That's exactly what they were doing. They used their intelligence assets to fucking lie. This is who needs to be removed, folks. Are you with me? Chance favors the prepared mind. Be a political activist, folks. Contact your congressmen, contact your senators. Use X, Twitter to do it. Pick up the phone, find them on the internet, and stay active. We need to keep pushing for freedom, liberty, our Constitution, and our rights. Semper Fi, and God bless America.